blame. That's what cost me a best friend and a company. My very first business opportunity kind of fell into my lap. I didn't come with the idea. It was for my best friend, Charles. We met at engineering school. We've been friends since freshman. And then at that time, around junior, senior year, he was designing POS system, like point of sale system for restaurant. And at that time, his system was already can handle English and Spanish. And he was just selling it. He was just designing the system for his mom's restaurant. And then he was able to pick up one client, which is a Chinese restaurant. His father was a lawyer for that Chinese restaurant. So he was able to pick up that client. So he was writing a newer version of that software, like all by himself, right? And so he told me this idea. And I was like, I want in. He was like, okay, sure. Because he's not very social, right? He doesn't like to do anything with sales. So we decided he would take care all the technical sides. At that time, touchscreen monitor was extremely expensive. He even figured out how to insert like a $75 chip to turn any monitor to be a touchscreen monitor. And that's how we were able to sell each of the units for thousands of dollars with very little cost. So that's his part. Technical, anything technical, software and hardware. And my job was just to sell it. At that time, I didn't know how to sell anything, but I love talking to people. So I thought, like, how hard could that be? And on top of that, we have this super advantage that over anybody else. Not only Charles can design the system, on top of that, because I speak Chinese, so our software system was able to handle English, Chinese, and Spanish. We could literally corner the market. And on top of that, I have this connection. He is a family friend, is a supplier of all the Chinese restaurants in the entire East Coast seaboard. So he basically drive up and down the entire East Coast and just go supply kitchen stuff to all the Chinese restaurants, which is hundreds and thousands of Chinese restaurants, right? That he has really close relationship for the past decades and decades, right? So he's on my side because my mom also owned a restaurant, and immediately he hooked me up with a connection. And then just like that, for the first 3 months, we were able to sell 16 units at $5,000 each. So it was a huge success. Like in no time, we're making $90,000 for our first 3 months, which neither of us know anything about business. So we were all excited, and Charles was designing second version of the software, supposed to be much better. We were just barely touching it was like 3 restaurants. So it was like off to a really good start, right? We would line up with like dozen restaurants, and each of them were able to sell them at least 3 to 6 units, depending on how big they are. So we're looking at like 5-figure per restaurant. So that's a lot of money for 2 people just fresh out of college and starting first business. When that happened, all of a sudden, I still remember that night, the Charles came to my apartment. He told me that he doesn't want to do this anymore. He just want to stop. And the reason for that is he found a job and he met someone and he bought a house. And he just want to start a life, a stable life, right? A job that's what he wants. It will provide him a stable income to support his new family. He's about to get married. I'm gonna tell you, when I hear that, I was so mad. I don't even remember what I said to him. Probably something not good. And I was so mad. And I could not understand how could he just abandon me with this huge opportunity. At that time, I had no job. That was my only income, that was my only hope, right? I have no idea what am I gonna do. So I was so mad then, and it was it. There's nothing I could say at that point to salvage the business. He just decided to quit, he made up his mind, and I blame him for it. And I just feel pissed, because I feel it was so unfair. He just out of nowhere make decision for the both of us that he didn't want to do this anymore. And at that time, I thought just quitting the whole business altogether, close it, fold it, was the only way out. Because I was so angry that it was clouded my judgment. I have no idea what else could I have done. And I blame him for it. Because he was the one that gave me hope, and he was the one that took away. So I 100% blame him for it. And then I lost his friendship as well. Now, honestly, looking back, there's so many ways I could have salvaged the relationship and also saved the business. And not only that, I could make it even better. One of the ways that I didn't know, that now I know, looking back, was that I could have listened to him. I could have really listened to him on what is the true reason why he want to stop doing the business to go find a job. With the experience I have right now, looking back, instead of blaming him, instead of just talking to him, asking the true reason, he probably think that the business is not stable. and which I get it, right? Now I get it. Business is unstable when you start until you become established. What I could have done if I were able to talk to him calmly and not blame him, I would be able to figure out a solution to buy him out. How do I buy him out? At that point, he just get like a 6-figure job. And at that point, the business already makes almost 6 figures. I could easily ask one of the restaurants to advance us and give him a discount and then pay him the whole year's salary that the company would have paid him. We had enough contract to afford him a full salary. At that point, I could even offer him, completely buy him out, give him salary and make him an employee. And therefore, I will get 100% ownership of the entire business, which we will make probably millions because we were on track on making that kind of money because we just have a lot of connection and we were one of a kind. We have no real competitor at that time. But because I was so angry on blaming him, I forgot to take on this responsibility to look within on what's wrong, what could I have done, which at that time was to listen, to think about what I could have done to salvage the relationship, to fulfill his needs. Probably at that time was financial stability. He wanted to have consistent income, great. I could have borrowed the money from the future buyer and pay him off the whole year's salary to secure him, and on top give him a share. So that way he have security and growth opportunity. Honestly, looking back, I truly believe that would have been the solution. But there's no way at that point I would figure it out because I was just so angry. When you blame the other for something, for some adversity, now I learned that you actually rob your opportunity for growth. You rob yourself the opportunity to be resourceful and figure things out, to figure out a better level. Looking back, if I didn't do that, I could have owned the whole company and still have this amazing friend alongside and probably make him some money along the way. But because I just blamed, I forgot to look within. I didn't know how. I was immature and I was ignorant and I didn't know how to do this. So that's what cost me a best friend and a company that have huge potential. And not to mention, there was a lot of fun. That was one of the time that I had the most fun when I was doing business was with my best friend. So blame was what causes us, and that's what I'm sharing with you. Whenever adversity happens, don't blame. Just look within calmly and see what can I do to fix this thing. So don't blame, take ownership of what could happen. If I knew back then, I'll still have my best friend, and who knows what we could achieve with that company that we have all this advantage so early on. So that's a very expensive lessons I learned. Please comment below and share lessons you have learned from your mistake that you made previously. I can't wait to learn from you.